Okay, so this is the video for how to simplify radicals with variables. So hopefully you all did your homework yesterday and you're a genius at just simplifying normal radicals. So today we're just going to take a step forward and add variables with them. Now, I know that variables seem to complicate things, but really they're not that bad if you can simplify a number. Simplifying a variable in a lot of ways is a little bit easier than an actual number. Okay, so if I look at number 1 here. Okay, now this isn't so bad, but some of these radicals start to look really, really bad. Okay, so I like to simply break this apart into smaller components. So I like to write this as the square root of 27 times the square root of x to the fifth. Okay, and then I can look at the square root of 27 and the square root of x to the fifth separately. Okay, so square root of 27 we did yesterday. So if we break down 27 using the cake method, okay, remember we only want prime numbers that goes here. Okay, well, prime number that goes into 27 is 3, and 3 goes into 27 9 times. Okay, so then we draw our other layer. Prime number that goes into 9 is 3, and it goes into it 3 times. We draw our other layer, and then 3 goes into 3 once. When we get to 1, we're done. Okay, so now that we have it broken down to its prime factorization, remember this just means that 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, remember we want to grab pairs. So we have a pair of 3's, and then we have 1 left over. Okay, so remember pairs come out front, so square root of 27 can be written as pairs come out front, leftovers go inside. So 3 square root of 3. Okay, that's straight from yesterday, so hopefully that wasn't too bad. All right, now as far as x to the fifth goes, okay, we're kind of lucky in the fact that the only factor of x to the fifth is x, or I guess 1 and x, but just x. So if I just wrote out x to the fifth, remember x to the fifth is just x times x times x times x times x, right? So think if I broke it down, this is already broken down, okay? I can pair up each pairs, so I have 2 pairs, and then I have 1 left over. So think of this as the same thing as if we had numbers. Okay, so the pairs come out front, and because there's more than 1 pair, we multiply them. Okay, and then our leftovers still go in the fridge. Okay, so this is simply x squared square root of x. So I can rewrite x to the fifth as x squared square root of x. Okay, now remember, these two are just being multiplied together. Okay, so rather than multiply square root of 27 times square root of x to the fifth, I can now multiply 3 square root of 3 times x squared square root of x. Okay, and the cool thing about it is that I can simply go through and everything on the outside, so we have a 3 and an x squared on the outside, I can put it together. And then everything on the inside, so I have a 3 and an x on the inside, it just simply comes to 3x on the inside. And that is my final answer. All right, let's look at number 2 now. Okay, now this looks pretty complicated, but once again, if I separate it into square root of 18 times the square root of x to the 9th times the square root of y to the 12th, okay, and then look at these as individual components at first, that makes it a little more doable and less intimidating. Okay, so if I break down 18, okay, let's go ahead and simplify square root of 18. So 18 is even, therefore 2 goes into 18, and 2 times 9 is 18. Okay, 3 goes into 9 3 times, and then 3 goes into 3 1 time. When we get to 1, we're done. So once again, circle our pairs, and then I have a leftover 2. So pairs come out front, leftovers go in the fridge. So square root of 18 can be written as 3 square root of 2. Okay, so now I want to break down x to the 9th. So x to the 9th, remember, is just x times x times x times x 9 times 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. So there's 9 x's there, and then I'm just going to circle my pairs. So pair, a pair, a pair, and a pair, and notice I have 1 left over. Okay, so each pair I multiply, so x times x times x times x is simply x to the 4th My leftovers go on the inside. So it's just x to the fourth times x. Okay, now y to the 12th, okay, is simply y 12 times. I'm going to do it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, there's my 12 y's. Okay, now I want to pair them up. So y, y, pair y's, pair y's, pair y's, pair y's. So notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of y's. So I multiply them. So y times y times y times y times y times y is simply y to the 6th. Okay, and notice I don't have any leftovers, so I don't have anything on the inside. Okay, now when I go back and I put it all together, remember, square root of 18 is simply 3 square root of 2. X to the 9th is simply x to the 4th square root of x. And then y to the 12th is simply y to the 6th. Okay, now I want to go and pair them up. So on the outside, I have a 3, an x to the 4th, and a y to the 6th. So my final answer will be 3x to the 4th, y to the 6th on the outside. And then on the inside, I have a 2 and an x. So just square root of 2x. Here is my final answer. All right, let's look at number 4 here. Okay, the only thing different about this number 4 is it has this 4 in front, which hopefully you remember from yesterday. That simply means we have 4 times square root of 72x to the 9th. Okay, so I'm going to write this as 4 times square root of 72 times square root of x to the 9th. Once again, if we break it apart, it's a little less intimidating. Okay, well, I don't have to do anything with this 4 for now. Okay, so first I want to simplify square root of 72. Okay, so if I break 72 down using the cake method, once again, remember only prime numbers goes here. Okay, well, 72 is even, so I know 2 has to go into it. And 2 goes into 72 36 times. Okay, 36 is still even, so I know 2 goes into it. And 2 goes into 36 18 times. 18 is still even, so 2 goes into 18 9 times. Okay, well, a prime number that goes into 9 is 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Prime number that goes into 3 is 3 again. I'm left with 1. When I get to 1, we're done. Okay, so when I simplify, or I guess when I group it first, I have a pair of 3's and a pair of 2's and a leftover 2. So remember, pairs come on the outside. So on the outside, it's 3 times 2, and I have a leftover 2. So that goes on the inside. So this is just 6 square root of 2. Okay, x to the 9th is just 9x's. So x times x times x, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and just like I did if they were numbers, I want to group these in 2's. So x squared, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. When I have 4 groups, remember I multiply each group. And then I have a leftover right here, so that leftover goes on the inside. And so x times x times x times x, remember that is not 4x. That is x to the 4th square root of x. Okay, so now I can go back up to where I had here. So my 4 stays a 4. Okay, square root of 72 is 6 square root of 2. And then x to the 9th is x to the 4th square root of x. Okay, and now if I go through and I take what's on the outside, so I have a 4, 6, and an x to the 4th, so 4 times 6 times x to the 4th on the outside, and then I have a 2 and an x on the inside, and then of course I can simplify this. 4 times 6 is 24, so 24 x to the 4th square root of 2x, and that is my final answer. Okay, so I want you to pause this video. I know number 4 looks a little intimidating, but I want you to pause this video and try to do 4 on your own. Okay, get as far as you can. And then when you're done, unpause it and I'll go over it. If you can do 4, you can do any of them. This is as hard as it gets. All right, so hopefully you at least attempted to work this out on your own. So I broke it out already. I did some of this already. So I broke it out into individual parts. Okay, so when I rewrite this, I still have -2 times. Okay, we broke square root of 72 down and we get 6 square root of 2. Okay, we broke x to the third down here and we get x square root of x. Okay, we broke y to the 8th down here and we ended up with y to the 4th because there was no leftovers. So we didn't have anything on the inside. And then z to the 5th is right here. And notice I get z squared, square root of z. Okay, so now it's just a matter of putting it all together. Okay, so on the outside, I have a -2 and a 6 and an x and a y to the 4th and a z squared. Okay, so when I put those together, -2 times 6 is -12, x, y to the 4th, z squared. Okay, now on the inside, I have a 2 and an x and a z. So square root of 2xz, and that is my final answer.